Okay. Hi. Second time in attendance, first time telling a story. When I heard the topic, curiosity, the first thing that came to mind was my kids, because kids are so curious. One of the great joys of being a parent is discovering everything anew with them and learning everything again and seeing them grow and be excited about everything in life and how wonderful everything is and wondrous. So I have 3 kids, and if you ask any of them, who's my favorite? Moms aren't supposed to have favorites, but we all do. Who's my favorite? They'll all say the baby, the youngest. He's my favorite. And I, maybe because there's 5 years between him and the middle child. And so when the older ones were kind of getting into mischief and kind of being a pain, he was always so tiny and cute all along the way. So maybe that's why he's my favorite. Maybe because he was always especially curious and always inquisitive and proactive in learning things and doing things. One time we had received as a hand-me-down kind of gift one of those little battery-operated cars. And my husband and I were kind of like, yeah, it's in the garage, we'll get to it. He was like 6 years old, and he gave up on us and went in and tinkered with it and fixed it and got it running. Like the battery just needed to be connected, and he figured it out. So really, really inquisitive, great kid. But it's really sweet, like just innocent, and of course I thought he had the face of an angel, a cherub kind of face, and it's sweet. I mean, it's so sweet that until he was about 7 or 8 years old, he thought if you said shut up to somebody, that was like a swear word. Like shut up is really bad, it's a swear word. So that's kind of the context of how my sweet baby ended up in this situation, unbelievably. So he's in the end of first grade, maybe the beginning of second grade. I can't remember this exact teacher. I kind of do remember her, but I'm not, to protect her, I'm not going to say her name. So she gave the children an assignment. What do you want to be when you grow up? So at that time, 1995 is when the X Games started. They're, I think, ESPN, and they're kind of extreme games, and they do all kinds of stuff. And so this was like 1999, maybe 2000. He was 7 years old. The assignment is, what do you want to be when you grow up? So he's thinking about it, and he says to his friend, what would you call it if you want to make a movie about the X Games? And his friend says to him, you call it X-rated movies. So he proceeds to write down, when I grow up, I want to make X-rated movies. So the teacher sees this. I'll call her Mrs. Smith to protect her identity. So she sees this, and she says, this is not appropriate. You have to change it. And he was adamant. No, when I grow up, I want to make X-rated movies. Like, what would be wrong with that? What could possibly be wrong? That would be awesome, right? So she doesn't inquire. She's not curious about, like, what does he mean? And instead, I get this letter in the mail. Dear Mrs. Snodgrass, your child wants to make X-rated movies when he grows up. What's going on in your household? I tried to tell him it was inappropriate, and he wouldn't change it. Yada, yada, yada. Like, oh my gosh, so I get this letter, and I'm like, my innocent baby does not know what X-rated movies are. Where is this coming from? So I asked him, I'm like, so what do you mean? What did you want to say here? He goes, Mom, X Games. I want to make movies about X Games. And Mike said they're called X-rated movies. That's why I wrote it down. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like wondering, why didn't Mrs. Smith ask him, what does he mean exactly? And then I thought, oh, what if he knows what they are? And he starts getting graphic, like, oh, well, Mrs. Smith, this is what happens in X-rated movies. Yada, yada. I'm like, okay, that's why she did it. Then I thought, oh, she thinks this really goes on in our house? Like, what does she think, like, every Friday night at the Snodgrass house is popcorn and porn night? Is this what she thinks of us? So I wrote her back. I'm like, Harrison really didn't know what this was. And, thank goodness, because I wouldn't know how to explain it if he did. And we really aren't those kind of parents. Well, now he's all grown up, going to graduate from Westchester in May. He did not major in film. No. He does know what X-rated movies are, but thank goodness that this is not going to be his career.
Nice job. Joyce, everybody.